Hey guys, hope everyone's doing good. I finally got an update on the turbo. Like I said in the last video, I sent mine out to get repaired. Long story short, they couldn't fix it, didn't have parts for it, didn't want to fix it, I don't know. Basically, the impression I got was everyone should be running ball bearing turbos at this day and age. And this old turbo is just not worth fixing. So yeah, I guess if a nice ball bearing turbo was in the budget, I'd have one, but this turbo does everything I need it to do. I bought it cheap. I bought it used like 4 years ago. So it really doesn't owe me anything. So I told them to send it back to me. And I've got it here now. It just got back. And I'm going to take it apart and see exactly what happened to it. They said it failed from lack of lube. I'm kind of wondering if this happened like really quickly lost lube, or if maybe it's happened over a long period of time. So I just want to get it apart and see exactly what happened to this thing. So I got it somewhat apart here. Just down to basically the bearing housing, the exhaust wheel and the shaft still in it. And this plate here, I believe they call this a thrust plate. And you can tell, I definitely agree with them that it was lack of lube or something. Everything's basically changed colors from all the heat. So I definitely have a lube problem. So I went ahead, pulled the bearing housing off. And you can see where the journal bearings ride on the actual shaft. It's actually transferred a lot of material to the shaft. The bearings themselves definitely have a lot of wear. And the back one, you can see it's kind of changed color a little bit. It's the lower piston ring, I guess. It's still all intact. Everything's still there. And just kind of shone a light through the lube holes. Everything looks like it's clear. I don't see anything. I don't see that anything's blocked or anything. So it's got like 3 lube holes down there. One goes straight out to the thrust plate, and one goes to the front bearing, and one goes to the rear bearing. But everything looks clear, so I mean, I don't see any blockages or anything. It really should have had lube. Here's a quick view of the impeller, so you can see how damaged it really is. This is usually clipped off for the 101 millimeter turbos. I believe the 106s, they just kind of run it straight out. And this cover, it's kind of all wallowed out there. They do engrave on here, I guess probably when it was built and then when it was rebuilt. So that's pretty cool. Really not much to them. I guess just balancing them is probably the real magic. So, I mean, you can see it definitely was a lube problem, which I don't really feel like I've got to the bottom of it yet. So in between sending the turbo there, figuring out I couldn't fix it, getting it back, I did end up buying a used turbo. So it's actually from a subscriber on the channel, and they only live a couple hours away from me. I was able to drive and go get it. So I didn't have to worry about shipping it or paying any duties or anything like that. So this is a 118, a little bigger than I wanted. It was good because it came with a 132 and a 150 housing. It is still journal bearing. And I've wanted to try a 132 housing on this thing. Basically, since I first put the turbo on the first season, I really wanted to try one. Just, it doesn't really have a spool problem or anything. I just think 132 might wake it up a little quicker. And I just wanted to try it. So this was a good opportunity. I picked it up. Little did I know that the 132 housing and the 150 housings are just slightly about 3/16 of an inch narrower. So it basically moves the outlet that much closer to the turbo, which normally wouldn't be a big deal, but I have my wastegates dumping into the exhaust. So I can't just move my exhaust ahead that amount. So I end up cutting my turbo mount off, moved it. So I do have the 132 housing on, which does kind of suck if I don't like the 132, but really it wasn't a big deal to chop that off, move it back. Charge pipe I had to change around a little bit. So I got that all done. It is kind of temporary. I do want to change this around a little bit more. But to get me up and running, basically I had that bend which fit exactly into place. I did kind of plan on moving that up a little bit more. But like I say, that fit right in place, so I just welded it all in. And at this point, the turbo is basically all mocked up, figured out, all that good stuff. So that leads me to the lube problem. I definitely don't want to have something happen to this turbo right away. So I had primed the engine and was getting lots of oil flow out the supply line for the turbo. But I am going to follow that back. It is a real pain to get out, but I'm going to pull that line right off. And hidden way back in there somewhere, you can see the oil pressure sensor, and right about there, there's a little manifold off the back of the block that basically supplies oil out to the turbo and supplies oil to the pressure sensor. So my game plan is, so I haven't fired this thing up yet with the new turbo. I might actually take it back off. Nothing's really bolted up permanently right now, so I might actually pull it back off just so I can run it without the turbo and just do a few checks. Make sure that I'm definitely getting oil there. But I am going to pull that all apart, make sure there's no blockages or anything in there. And yeah, I don't really know what else I can do from there. So that's the game plan. But at this point, I am excited to try this turbo out. It's definitely a lot bigger than the old turbo, so that should be a little bit interesting, but it's definitely a nice turbo. It's a nice shape. It definitely looks like it's got very little runtime on it. So I'm excited to try it out and see how it works. I've only run the car once with the turbo off, just to kind of flush everything through the engine. I just put some cheap 1540 in there, cheap filter. I might dump the oil twice to see how it looks before I go ahead and run the new turbo. And I'm going to check that line out to be sure that everything is totally clear there. And I'm definitely getting lots of oil up to the turbo. I thought you guys might find it cool taking that old turbo apart, seeing exactly what's wrong with it. Try to figure out exactly what happened. Like I said, I still have not got to the exact root cause, I don't think. The only other thing I can think of is maybe this kind of happened over time last year. I did change the rod bearings over the winter, and that was definitely a lube problem too. So maybe last year kind of got hurt, and I really don't have a lot of time on it this year, and maybe it's just really showing up. So fingers crossed, that's what it was. I've looked back at my data logs. Oil pressure looks good. I haven't seen any oil pressure issues this year with it. So yeah, I guess that's all I got for you guys. I'm going to work on this. I'm going to get it going. Hoping to do some testing or something with it this weekend, but I'll do another video when I get this thing fired up. And if you're looking for an update on the GMC, I am so close to getting it in primer, but kind of stopped. I was hoping to do it today or tomorrow, but I kind of stopped to work on the turbo now. But it's very close. Not perfect, but definitely a lot better than it was. Should look pretty decent. And hopefully, sometime this week, hopefully one night this week, I'll get it in primer. I think I've been saying that for about 3 weeks, but it's definitely getting close now. So thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. If you haven't hit the subscribe button already, do me a favor, just click that button. And if you got a comment, throw it up there. I'd love to hear it. So have a good day, guys.